Hey, it's Lee. Welcome to Business Problem Solved. Today, I have it's an international podcast in a few different ways. And normally, I'm probably the only person with an accent on the podcast, but today I've got somebody with a far better accent than I. So, Nicholas, welcome to the Business Problem Solved podcast.
Hey Lee, how are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. Very good. So, I didn't want to guess how to say your surname. So how do you say your surname?
Nicolas Faribeault.
Yeah,
It's a French name, so
and
and
you say it far better than I do as well. So if I need to say your name in as we go forward, then I'll just come to you to say your own name if that's all right. Because I much prefer the way that you say your name than the way that I say your name. Is that all right?
my name is Nicolas
Yeah, Nicolas
Faribeault. If it's
Faribeault.
okay, Faribeault, like
Faribeault.
Beau,
Faribeault. Okay.
Faribeault.
Yeah.
I know, with a French accent, it's
Yeah, I'll work on that. I will work on that. But so for those people who don't know who you are, Nicholas, or Nicola,
Nicolas. Yeah,
Nicola, yeah,
Nicolas.
Nicola. For those people who don't know who you are, who are you, and how have you got to that seat today? What's your journey? What's your story?
Yeah, so I'm from France, and I moved 2 years ago to Canada, and I decided to speak about voice and develop my business around what is a voice and to help people to be more comfortable with their voice. So, what is my journey? Usually, I try to understand how people can understand what means voice, and I I really want to develop to the voice technical, and to develop as well the mindset goes with the voice, because you can work only the technique, you can work only the mindset, because my definition of voice in this concept is the voice when you speak say who you are. So if you say who you are and your mindset is not the same, I'm not sure you are aligned with your value. So for me, the voice represents your value.
Wow. Okay, so when I think voice, I think this thing that I'm now with a funny accent that's speaking to you. But when you think voice, it's much more than that.
Yeah. When I speak about voice, I was surprised because last time I spoke with one friend, and she told me your job is not only voice. Your voice, you work with a soul of voice. Because
Okay.
when we speak about voice, many times we say the voice is a mirror of your soul. And it's true, because every time when I listen people, it's not easy to analyze voice like that, because you need to pay attention a lot, but you can see the attitude of people, you can see the um, the psychology of people. You have a lot of things behind voice.
So
So
how do you get people to understand the true meaning of their voice?
this is it's maybe the most difficult part of the voice, because uh you know we were born with a voice, and because voice is something very banal, we speak every day and we use the voice, but we don't pay attention on what we say, just on we don't pay attention on how we say something, we
Yeah.
pay attention on what we say. So I think when you start to listening your voice, if you record your voice and you're listening, for sure the first time you doesn't like your voice, because nobody like his voice, her voice, just because we don't have the habits to listen our voice. But more you listen, more you can understand the inflection of your voice, more you can analyze your attitude when you speak. And you know, last time you speak with one person, what the name, Andrew Miller.
Yes.
And something was very interesting because this person spoke about the behavior from leaders.
Yeah.
And in your voice, you have this behavior. It's like a soft skill, but if you know your voice, if you understand your voice, if you analyze your voice, you can change many settings to change your behavior. And because you change your voice, you communicate better with people. And if you communicate better with people, you are more engaged and the satisfaction appears. And you you find your target easily, or you can reach your target easily.
I love this. I love this a lot. So you probably don't know I've been on 2 stand-up comedy courses. Not because I wanted to be I don't want to be a stand-up comedian, but I believe that comedians help people feel something emotionally far quicker than most other professions. And when I was on the very first course, the tutor, they said to us, they said the second most important thing in comedy is your performance. And that is, and there's 2 lines in comedy. There's a setup and there's a punchline. And they said the art of comedy, you have to vary your attitude between your setup and your punchline, signpost to the audience when they need to laugh. So you might be like really angry when you're delivering your setup, but then really happy when you're delivering your punchline. So it makes it easier for the audience to know that something has changed. I now need to laugh, whether you find it funny or not. So I really resonate with what you're saying about understanding your attitude, and understanding how you speak as opposed to the words that you say. How do you encourage other people to understand how they are speaking, and what should they be looking out for?
It's maybe it's psychology. It just takes time to, you know, in our society now, we want to speak very fast and we want to give a lot of information. But when you focus only on the information, you don't focus on the quality of the speech. You don't focus on the quality of the sound of your voice.
Yeah.
So many time people want to speak. More you give information, more you want to speak fast, because you know you want to give a lot of information. But many people doesn't remember what you say. Usually it's 10% of what you say, but people remember how you say. For example, you know, for me, it's more difficult to understand a French, English music, English song, because I'm French, but it's easy to remember the melody of the music and the tone of the voice of the musician before remember the lyrics of the music.
Yes.
So when you do a speech, or when you speak with your team, when you lead your team, it's easier for your team to understand the behavior you give by your voice than the word you give to your team.
So what?
And
go on, sorry.
I want to add with that, in your voice, when you communicate with your team or with your audience, you give through your voice energy, and this energy is communicate. It's a communication. You know, I love to take this example. You have 2 persons, so the speaker and the listener. It's not I don't care about the speaker and the listener. I care about the frequency between the speaker and the listener, because this is the most important. Is the quality of the sound arrive to your listener. If the speaker doesn't give a good quality of sound, I'm not sure the listener gonna listen very well.
Yeah, completely.
It's it's, you know, it's a mix between psychology and science. If you want your audience capture what you want to say, it's good for the speaker to give the better quality of sound and not the quantity of sound, quantity of word.
So what's good and what's not good? So if somebody is sat at home now going, how do I know the difference between what is good and what is not very good when I am talking?
So when you talk with someone, maybe it's good to speak slowly. So slowly doesn't mean I speak like that, but just take time to do a nice sentence, like a lyric sentence. My background is more musician. I'm violinist. I'm opera lyric singer, and the only thing I learned during that was the lyric of the sentence. So I start a word and I finish my sentence. And I try to do music with that because I know if I do a nice sentence, people gonna remember the quality of the music of my sentence. This is this kind of better energy for people to remember and to get to be more attractive for me.
Yeah. So I've been speaking with you now for 20 minutes, something like that. How can I improve?
You know, when I started to speak with you in 15 minutes now,
yeah,
your voice changed.
In what way?
Because when you spoke with me at the beginning, your voice was more staccato, and now it's a little bit more lyric. I heard the difference. So maybe, I don't know if you can see that later when you're gonna listen the records.
Yeah, I will listen. I will definitely listen back for that moment.
Just pay attention to the how you speak, not the what you say. Just how, and I'm pretty sure I feel something more lyric, more, yeah, like a sentence with music.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a small detail, but you know, sometimes the devil is in the detail. So
yes. Yeah. So I am more conscious speaking to you than I believe I've been speaking to a lot of other people, because of what you do. So I guess, how do you encourage people? So I believe in what you say. I like what you're saying, and I think there's, because of the comedy training and the difference in those lines. I think it's really important that how we communicate, not necessarily just the words that we say. How do you get and encourage people to change how they are speaking?
Good question. First of all, but we need exercise for that, because it's really difficult like that to change many things. But maybe just speak slowly. Take time to enjoy what you say. Just pay attention to the quality of the sound, and after that, listen what you say, and listen and listen. Because if you practice a deep listening, you're gonna first like what you say. You're gonna like the sound of your voice, and you're gonna get more confidence. But I'm pretty sure it's a very difficult exercise, because it's maybe for many people very new to understand what is the voice and the quality of the sound. But I'm pretty sure we lose a lot in comparison with the past and maybe the last century.
Yeah.
Or music and literature was more evidence for people.
A lot of people don't like how they sound. So I've got a little boy who's 9 years old. Okay, and I'll record him. I'll put him on. I'll get my phone out and record him, and I'll ask him to say something, and then I'll play it back to him, and he'll go, "Oh no, stop it, stop it! I don't like, I don't like how I sound," because internally he sounds different than how
Yeah.
everybody else hears him. So for him, he's got to become more comfortable just with his voice first before he can become more comfortable about how he is speaking. What's the typical journey that you would take people on to get them to be more comfortable? So I understand that they're listening to
Yeah,
themselves more and more. What else would you do?
I think it's because, you know, imagine you take off all the mirror in your place and you don't know how you looks like. The only mirror you can find is people out of your place and say they're gonna give you, oh, you looks like that, but to be honest, you don't know how you looks like. It's the same for your voice. You don't have a mirror of your voice. So the only way to know how you speak is just to record your voice and listening. To be honest, when I listened my voice for the first time, it was just awful. Because for sure, when I listen my voice or when I speak, I know my voice is maybe lower, but when I listen my voice, it was higher. So I was so surprised that I say, I sing like that, I speak like that. How people can love that? It's awful. So everyone has the same process, but step by step, you know, because you listen your voice, you know what is bad and what you can change. And many times it's because the pace of your sentence is too fast. So it's good for that to, you know, to be slower and just imagine you do a music, don't speak faster than the music because as nonsense. I don't have any more recommendation for that. Just listen your voice and
When you
and for yes.
So I was going to say, when you talk about the psychology, so you said it's about two things, it's about how you say it, and it's also about the psychology.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, many times, and specifically with during the pandemic, we switch off the camera and we spoke with people, and we don't see the psychology of people. You know, before it was easy. You go to your office and people say hello to you and you show to your colleague how you feel because the body language spoke. But with the pandemic, everyone stay at home, works online, and many times we switch off the camera because we don't want people see where you live and how you feel or how you are dressed. So the only way to understand who you are is your voice. And if you listen correctly the voice of people, you can understand the psychology. You can see if people are depressed, you can see if people are stressed, happy, sad, many kind of emotions that you can find you can't find with body language, because with body language is very easy to lie because we know how to lie with our body, but it's more difficult to lie with your voice.
And so your ear is trained to understand the differences in how people are talking.
Yeah.
My ear is not trained to understand, I guess, what people are meaning with how they are talking. What could I do to help me better understand what people mean in how they are speaking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you mean how can you change your mindset to be more to give a better image of yourself to your colleague? So
yeah, so yeah, in fact, that's one thing. But then how can I train my ear to be more receptive to understand what people are really meaning? So both of those things.
yeah, so this is it's as well a long process. When I spoke about seeing, I didn't know I could do that. But more I train my ear, my listening, more I can recognize some inflection of the voice. And yeah, just because I listen, you know, speaking is more listening than speaking. If you want to understand people, more you listen people, more you can understand what the speaker says. Maybe this is a big issue now in communication, because we think we need to speak to do communication, but communication many times is more listening. So communication doesn't work if you don't have two protagonists.
Yes.
So, but yeah, for understand the listening, sometimes it's because you don't breathe correctly, and the breathing is very important for listening. I do usually a good exercise and really interesting. Maybe your audience can do that. It's a very nice and simple exercise. Draw a square on a sheet of paper, a nice square,
yeah,
and then try to, with a scissor, to cut through the line correctly. And when you do that, try to pay attention if you breathe during this action, because many times when we do action, we stop to breathe. And when you stop to breathe, you stress your brain and you block all your sense in your body. And because you block all your sense in your body, you cut the listening and you don't pay attention on what's happened around you. And more you train this exercise, more you develop the, I love to speak about, Shiva, the god Shiva in Hindu.
Yeah.
More you control your breathing, more you feel more energetic. And it's like you have many hands, up, and you can do many things in the same time. So it's exactly the same when you control this breathing, and this helps you to listen better, and to speak better.
Okay, I love that. So what you're encouraging there is that we need to be understanding or more controlling of our breath, and to maintain our breathing. You've also said through the conversation that we need to slow down our pace of the words that we're saying, but then also delivering them in a melodic way, as opposed to a like a straight way. Are there any other things that need to happen to you also said as well, become better listening? So control your breathing, be better listening, slow down your pace. What other things?
The inflection of your voice. So the melody, the power of your voice, and the color of your voice.
What do you mean by that?
The power is like the projection of your voice, especially when you are a leader or manager, and you are meeting, and you want to share your idea, but nobody listens to you because the volume of your voice, the power of your voice is too small. And because your voice doesn't project correctly, nobody listens to you. So if you work your projection, you can get first a better quality of your voice, and a better intensity.
Mhm.
So, and people gonna listen to you.
How do you know how you should speak to get the best result in different situations?
You can adapt your voice according to the situation. If you do a network, for example, you are in a bar and a lot of people, and people shout a little bit more than usual, it's good. You have to be more higher in your voice, like metallic voice, because your sound has to pass through this sound. If you want to be more authoritarian, you should get a voice lower than higher, and to speak more largely. I don't know exactly what can I use as a word, but it's more a lower voice.
Yeah.
Like no. If you say no, doesn't work. You know, if you want to be more attractive, it's good to listen Italian voice like Pavarotti. Very a fire voice. This is it's a kind of voice you have to use if you want people listen to you.
Can you give me an example of that type of voice with any sentence?
So I can do just a vocalise. The easier for me is maybe fire voice Italian. So lasagna.
Gotcha.
Just that, you know, yeah, it's sensual and energetic voice, and but yes, it's difficult to explain because it's very particular.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I gave the best example, but it's for just the meaning.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, because in what you've just articulated there is with that voice, that voice is expressive, but it fills the room as well. So it's authoritative in terms of it will get the message across. It fills the room, and people are going to listen to you. It's not too high, it's low as well. Okay. Yeah.
And you know, sometimes I just want to say, if you don't want to speak, don't speak. Because many times we want to speak to show people we are here. But it's better to be quiet and say, okay, I don't need to speak now. But when I'm gonna speak, I will be more powerful because I didn't speak before. So you prepare your mind for speaking mentally, and when you attack the sound, you will be perfect because you have more impact.
Yes.
My teacher gave me all the time the same example. He said, the first note you sing, the first note you speak, determine who you are. You have only, and for speaking, we say usually you have 10 seconds to show who you are.
And I guess with that example, the 10 seconds thing, that's situational. So dependent upon the situation you were in, those first 10 seconds are really important. So if you're a leader delivering an important message, you want to you've got the first 10 seconds to grab people's attention in the right way, to know that you're in charge and it's an authoritative delivery. Okay, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, 10 seconds when you arrive on stage, because imagine, even if you work at your office, when you go on the meeting, you are on stage. When you go for a conference, you are on stage. But this, for me, is just 10% of your job. 90% of your job is behind that. It's like an artist, when we have to do a performance, 90% of our works is behind the stage, not on the stage. And it's exactly the same for leaders, for manager, for entrepreneur, for politician. for everyone has to speak in front of audience. They have to be ready before to be on stage. It's very, very, very important. It's like the athletes before a contest. You know, if you're not ready, if your mindset is not here, so you can go on stage, but nothing happened because you are not ready. And when you arrive on stage, you open the mouth, people know who you are.
Yes.
It's exactly the same. When I did some contest, lyric contest, my teacher told me all the time, the first note is good, you win.
Yeah, I like that, because it comes back to what you said right at the start of the conversation. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
How you say, yeah. And this is a big issue because now we focus on what we say, and we forgot the how we can say what we say.
Yes.
And especially when you do a storytelling, it's more important to say how you say, because a storytelling, it's nice, but if you can add some music with that, you have more impact on your audience.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And I noticed that as well many times. Communication is like design information to be attractive, but for me, design voice is to be more charismatic, more authentic.
Just to elaborate on that a little bit. What do you mean in what you've just said?
About information. So imagine we are in society with a lot of information. So you use email, WhatsApp, Messenger, and you give information. But the person who receive this information doesn't know how to understand this information. It's just a word. But when you speak, we are more in conversational mode. So your voice gonna give more information about the same information, but they're gonna give you information about your authenticity, your personality, your manners, your and your charisma. So
yeah, no, it's yeah, I really resonate with a lot of what you're saying. I think the key things that I'm picking up what in my head is when you say it's about listening, you said before, it's not just necessarily listening to everybody else, it's listening to the environment to know how you need to speak, and the tone that you need to give as well. So there's a lot of listening that is required. There's a preparation piece in understanding how then you need to deliver the words that you know, and then that will help increase the chance of success of your message being interpreted in the right way. Because I often say when I'm delivering training, it doesn't matter what I say, it matters what you hear, and that's the art of communication, is what the other person hears, not necessarily what you've said. And when you said before, it's about those two protagonists and the waves in between. The person that's listening, the person that is absorbing what has been said, they need to understand the intent and the feeling behind the words and the meaning of your messages.
But you have to pay attention, because sometimes when you speak with your audience, the audience is not prepared for that. So your job as a speaker is to be ready to get audience unprepared for your speech. So that the reason is good to be sure when you speak, the 10 first second as excellent to attract fastly your audience.
Yes.
Because you are speaker, but you are also you are listener. So you know as a listener how listen people. But tomorrow you're gonna maybe go to a conference, you're gonna sit, listen the guys, and the guys doesn't know you're ready, doesn't know if you are unprepared. So the guys has to do his speech and to be more attractive as possible he can, just to be sure you listen what he say.
Yeah. Yeah, fascinating, fascinated. I could talk to you a lot about this subject, and unfortunately, we've not got all of the time in the day to talk about this subject. But what does a voice? I'm going to call you a voice coach, somebody who supports people with their voice. What does he have for his tea? What does he have for his evening meal? How do you feed
Uh,
yourself, Nicola?
I call me like a voice designer because it's like design your voice and design your communication, design your image. But my job is to focus on voice. So yeah, voice designer for me, it's
Yeah,
a nice word to
I like
express
that.
myself.
Yeah, no, I like that because it says so much more. But it's okay. So, what does a voice designer have for his evening meal? So, it's the start of the day where you are.
Yeah.
But what do you eat for your evening meal, for your big meal of the day?
In Toronto, very simple. I love cooking, so I cook what I can in my what I have in my fridge. Uh, to be honest, I don't know.
No, and you've got plenty of time to decide that because it's still the morning time with you. So yeah, that's all good. So if people wanted to know more about you, Nicola, if they wanted to know how their voice can be designed, where would they go? What would they do? What would they find?
Yeah, so they can find more information about me on Nicolas-Faribeault, Faribeault.com. And if people want they want more information, you can write as well on nicolas.faribeault@gmail.com. And they can find me as well on LinkedIn and Instagram, nicolas.voicedesigner.
Perfect. And if somebody, how does somebody know that they need a voice designer?
Only themselves know. It's like when you take a coach, you don't wait the response from the coach. It's because you know something is missing on you. That is the difference between coach and teacher. Teacher give you something. I don't give. I just give the opportunity to understand who you are, to be better, and through your voice, I give you the 3D. I love to speak voice as a 3D communication because you give more information about everything.
Yes. Yeah, no, completely. No, I love that. Like I said, I could talk to you all day. Unfortunately, time has got the better of us. But Nicola, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today on the
With a
podcast.
pleasure. Thank you
Thank,
so much.
thank you for sharing more understanding and depth about the importance of voice and how it needs to be designed. So yeah, good luck with everything that you've got going on. Thank you so much for joining me, and
Thank you.
enjoy your meal, whatever it is that you make.
Yeah, we're gonna find something.